Call meeting to order. Ms. Settle, would you have a roll call, please?
Mayor Plummer,
Here.
Commissioner Brooks.
Here.
Commissioner Fields.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Galbraith.
Here.
We have a quorum and ready for the transaction of business.
Okay, Ms. Miller.
Thank you, Mayor. First item, we have the joint city and county budget workshop minutes from April 3rd, 2025. May I get a motion to approve?
So, second?
We have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or corrections on the minutes presented? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. This brings us to the minutes from the joint workshop on April 18th, 2025. May I get a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or corrections on those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Thank you. Motion carries. Last minute that we have to approve is from the April 22nd, 2025 regular meeting. May I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
And thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any comments or corrections on those items? Hearing none, all in favor? All opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries. Thank you. We have one item on consent agenda today for your review. Would you all like to discuss that separately? If not, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to our purpose of what we're here today is to discuss the next steps related to filling the city manager role. You have a couple of items to consider before you, and we can talk through. I provided some material for your review based on prior discussions of different avenues that you may be interested in reviewing. So the way that today's purpose is it's posted on the agenda as both a regular agenda item as well as an executive agenda item. So as we discuss things related to what's the practice going to be going forward, do we want to pull in a recruitment firm, things of that nature, if we're looking at process, that's going to be a discussion that takes place in an open meeting. If we are at a point where we want to begin to start talking about names, particularly as we're looking at an interim situation that may lead to an appointment of somebody, we are able to go into executive session to have that discussion. So it's up to the commission on the order that they'd like to have that discussion in, but those are both on the agenda and available in that way so that we can both discuss something that might lead to an appointment of somebody if we're ready to make that decision, or even if we need to talk about the next steps that we need to be ready to make that decision, and then process will be more of a public discussion. So is there a preference from the city commission before we proceed?
I'd like to know how each, let's say the five of us, want to proceed. I think we all may have different ideas of how we're going to get there. Ultimately, we're going to get to the same point, but how we get there is all going to be a little different. And I'd like to, I don't say not talk about that first, because then now that I brought that up,
We'll start with you and go around the
why don't I
room.
just start, okay? How about that? But what I'd like to do is, I remember, Jamie, when we were looking to hire you, and it was, to me, if we decide right now to go to a search firm, as they tell you, and there's 14, 16 weeks or plus or minus, this, that, and the other. Memory serves me correctly, and I'm going to ask maybe Johnny and Stephanie and Brad and Wallace. We were here, but when we found out that, let's say, our previous city manager was leaving, we ran an ad. The city did, and I think memory serves me correctly. We got 4 or 5.
Who did you run the ad with?
It was in it was like in the local paper, or we put it out on, and I don't know what the avenue was, Sharon. I just don't remember that. Anyway, we got 4 or 5. But as it turned out, we went the long route. And it was several months, because I think the first 30, 60 days, they came into the community and tried to do a little narrative, went to the chamber and went to, and all, and tried to build what Paris, thank you, the profile of Paris. And then we went from there. But if I remember correctly, when we did that, there were some candidates that we had gotten when we ran the ad on whatever medium that was, and I guess we can always find that out. But we got some, they were in both groups. So we could see, as I remember, we could see their application on what we had done, and then through the GovHR. It was GovHR, wasn't it? Okay, GovHR. So I guess personally, I'd like to try for us to run an ad. Let's see who we get, because you and I had a conversation. I'd like to find somebody that's already, let's say, working or has worked in the state of Kentucky, so that they become familiar. You did a great job when you came in from Florida to learn, understand KRS, but that's how you are. But I'd like to have somebody that's already here that could maybe come in, avoid 18 to 36,000 or something on, and then take the time to do that. I'd like to see what we can find out. If we get some people, can we go on here in the next 15, 30 days or something? Can we see somebody, and can we already start hiring versus, I'm not saying not push can down the road, but that's what I personally like to see. I don't want to go today with go out on not on a limb, but go out on the search firm. I don't want to spend the money today. May have to spend it later, but I don't want to spend it today or contemplate spending it today.
You said it took several months before we hired Jamie. We're already clipping away at her 60 days.
Right.
So we're gonna need to find at least an interim quickly. And I'm hoping we can find an interim before she leaves, so that they
I
can
agree.
talk and she can show them what's on the plate and
Sure.
that type of thing. I'm not sure if we put an ad in the local paper that we will necessarily get the candidate that we need.
And again, I said local paper. I don't know the median that we
Okay,
went through
okay.
at that time. We'd have to go back and look
Okay.
and
Okay.
see how that was done. But we did make an effort
Okay,
to do that, but then it went 180 degrees different.
Yeah, it wasn't done just locally, so I mean, and I don't want to turn the money in, and I think, if we do that, who would get the applications and who would vet those things when they got here, it would be my only question. I guess we have to come to the city manager or to Brian is the attorney at home. I really don't want to spend the money if we can do it.
okay, bankers.
Well.
Okay,
Let's be honest, we're not gonna have a city manager when Jamie leaves.
no,
No.
we're not.
So we need to concentrate on having someone right
We can
now
have an interim.
with her.
Right.
And get an interim, and to me, that's the first step. We move from there as far as finding this person, but we've got to keep day-to-day business where it needs to be and move forward from there. That's my first step.
I guess I didn't touch really so much on getting the interim. I was looking
I
at the
just
law.
think we need to get somebody with her because there's a lot going on. There's a lot day-to-day. We got staff,
I agree.
looking at who we're gonna look to. We need to continue our level of service that we're at.
I agree.
And that's just me. I think we need to start there.
I agree.
Because it may take us a bit to find, we're not gonna find another Jamie Milton, no matter how hard we try, but if we can get close, we'll be good.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's said here. I don't want to go through that process that we had, like Stan was talking about. So, we'd like to do it publicly or in the newspaper or however you want to decide to do it, or we need to go on to it. As far as running the city, I guess Kevin's here, so he can pretty well take care of it till we get us an interim manager. So I'd recommend,
Well, here's, I'm gonna make a motion that we go into executive session, KRS 61810 discussion, which might lead to appointment, dismissal of the individual. No, it's not the right one.
Because the appointment.
61.8.
One, oh,
61.8.
yeah, 10, yeah, okay.
So,
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Sam, you were the second.